Well, hello there. Welcome to episode 3 of my Truth Seekers podcast. Hope you all have liked what I've done so far. It's still kind of an experimental process kind of thing, but I'd like to think I'm getting better a little bit every time and, have a long passion for voice work. So I want to do the best I can, so hope you all like it. However, or should I say anyway, today I'm going to be talking about what kind of country we'd like to be or like to see. This country was founded escaping religious tyranny from England, of course. Church of England wanted to get away from that. We were Protestant. They weren't really Catholic, although Ireland had Catholic. It's a whole thing. Of course, the men who also started this country were owned slaves, although to their credit, many wealthy landowners back then did own slaves, and mostly wealthy landowners were the ones who made decisions and owned people. It's a crazy time. I guess we've evolved a little since then, huh? Anyway, so we form our own country, or should I say we leave England, come to form our own country, and then we see a group of people already living here. Well, they must be savages, so, we can teach them and make them be civilized, like us English people. Haha. Yeah. How well did that go? The missions. Countless genocides. Slaughtering of women and children. Manifest destiny, right? Our God-given right to move west. Isn't that what we were told over and over again? Well, that's where we started. People have been here for thousands of years already, but, we discovered it with a person who didn't even set foot here, but in the Bahamas. Anyway, another side note. So what kind of country do we want to be? Well, first of all, we have to recognize our history, where we've come from. It's slavery. Had Jim Crow. We tried during Reconstruction. That's why it's probably one of my most, one of the periods in history I'm most fascinated with. For 12 years, we had black sheriffs, senators, congressmen, mayors, everything. And then somewhere along the line, it kind of crapped away. I think the North let go of their support. So, could have had it in those 12 years. If the 12 years would have naturally been extended, we may not even have needed the civil rights movement. But I digress. So, where are we now? We've gone through slavery, we've gone through civil rights, like we said. Getting a little bitter each time. Luckily now we don't have, separate bathrooms, separate drinking fountains. We know the whole policy of eugenics was obviously racist bullshit. Been proven to be scientifically false and everything else. And now you slowly see some of that start to creep back in with, more testing of, people's abilities to, whether it's strength or whether it's knowledge. We try to, kind of push them aside. Voter registration. ID laws. All of these things disenfranchise. So what does this have to do with what kind of country we'd like to be? So let me hit on the positive stuff. I started with the negative. Let's hit some of the positive. What would we like to see? A country that's free for us all, right? Everyone. Freedom for all? Liberty and justice for all? Does that sound familiar? Well, for us to truly have that, we must actually have liberty and justice for all, right? Rights for everybody? That's what that basically says. So that means, all minorities, all sexual orientations, all genders. Everybody. Everybody has rights, period. End of sentence, end of story, file it away. That's what we want. It's what we've been saying we've wanted since the start. What else? What else would we like to see besides equality? Well, fairness. I guess fairness goes hand in hand with equality. But we could do with a little less corporatization. I don't want this to devolve into too much of a communism versus socialism versus capitalism kind of fight or argument, which may be for a later piece. But you can't argue with the fact that when you let profit motive into an equation, right, it changes things. What I call the big three, right? Healthcare, prisons, and schools. Why do they need to be made a profit off of? Seems like we've gone wrong in the past when we profit off of men's backs. Now we're doing it off their brains, their punishment, and whether we allow them to be sick or get well or get the health care that 97% of the world has. So first off, some things in life do not need to be made profitable. I'm not arguing against capitalism. I think owning the fact in this country that we can own a business and move forward and make money for ourselves and build up a nest egg and all that kind of thing, that's great. That's what should happen. Problem comes in when we want to keep growing and growing and growing and growing, and we don't care who we step on, how many businesses we consolidate, how much less choice this creates, giving into the supposed free market, which some people have always said, well, this country must allow free markets. Well, let's talk about that for a second. So free markets are free. So everybody's free to make as much money as they want because the market will dictate whether they can or will be shut down or will be deposed by some heinous safety default. Maybe they let a few workers die or something. No big deal. So, this is where we're at. Don't make money off of people. Oh, what about guns? That could be a whole separate issue, of course. Definitely should allow guns. No one's ever been talked about taking them away. I just think normal people could probably agree that, some people probably shouldn't have them. People convicted of multiple violent crimes. Terrorists. Domestic abusers. Or the fact that in some states in this country, you can go down to the thrift store and buy a rocket launcher. I have no problem with someone protecting their home, their family, going hunting, all that stuff. It's great. I just don't think the average person needs a rocket launcher. Because honestly, if you need a rocket launcher to protect your home and your family, just like, you could say for an automatic rifle as well, then you're not a very good shot. Of course, then a lot of people will come back, well, you know, it's our right. So we can stand up against a tyrannical government. Well, if you're trying to stand up against a tyrannical government, is it you that thinks it's a tyrant? Is it everybody that thinks it's a tyrant? Because you could say in this country right now, we're living under tyranny. The tyrannical government. No, I'm not talking about mask orders and shelter in place, you know, the tyrannical government coming down to, you know, control us. I mean, God forbid they'd want us to be well. And I'm not saying it's all, you know, biscuits and gravy, but strawberries and cream, however you want to say it. But, you know, we have a long way to go. We do have a long way to go. And nobody can really stop us but us. I mean, we are our ultimate, you know, we are our ultimate guard, you know, roadblock. So, guns should have some. Some people shouldn't. When you point out a tyrannical government, if you point them out and it's not actually what it is, you're just using it as an excuse to rail against things you don't like, then when an actual tyrannical government comes to actually take people's guns away, to actually make them feel unsafe and unloved and unwanted and, well, definitely not unneeded, because they will always need you to work them, you know, work in their factories and fields. When it actually comes, you won't even know it. You'll think it's a friend. You'll think it's someone making you promises that's going to do you good. It's going to do you good, because all the problems that you're having, it's not you. It's really these other people over here. So, we could certainly go on and on. Each one of these topics could be a separate show, a separate program. And maybe they should be. Maybe they will be. I'm going to do as many of these as I can. Because I know in this country, whether I choose to show an upside down flag not because I'm un-American, but because this country is in extreme distress, and I can say fuck the president, and there's not going to be secret police busting down my door to come take me and my family away to work in death camps for the rest of our life. We don't have to live in a place like that. But do we see when things similar like that have happened in other countries, what built up to it? Now, I know slippery slope arguments are double-edged sword. You know, maybe not the right phrase, but you know what I mean. Not always the right way to go. They can get you to think that this is going to happen, and all these things down the line are going to happen. Well, maybe they will, maybe they won't. We do have to pay attention to clues, though. We can't just ignore them. If we see something messed up going on, and we see how those same sorts of things happen somewhere else with much more heinous results because they were left to fester by themselves for too long, then maybe we should pay more attention. Do we want to be a country that loves its citizens, that wants them educated, that wants them healthy, that wants them productive? Whether it be working for a company, working for themselves, working to better their community, whatever the case is, productive, making their soul happy, not just counting cogs or sprockets. You know, what the corporations want you to do. So, where will we go with this? What will we do? I just don't want to be in a country that hates. Of course, every country is going to hate, so you can't say you just don't want a government that hates. Because the difference between this government and this people has always been around. I remember seeing stickers that, and I'm sure many of you out there have seen them too, that said, I love my country but hate my government. There's a reason for that. People are good. Yeah, we get fogged over with our bullshit and our little fights and all this other stuff. But deep down, we're good people. This is what we need to get back to. This truth, this inner truth. I know I've talked about it a lot, but it always comes back to living your inner truth, being truthful to yourself. Others will see that. They'll want to be truthful. Then you'll see each other's truths. Then you'll put your truths together and evolve in something bigger and better and brighter than anything we've ever imagined will happen. But not yet. Just have to keep working hard. We have to keep loving each other. Keep striving. Keep moving forward. And, realize that we don't know everything. Realize other people have, valuable material to contribute. Accept responsibility. So many things. I could keep going. But, I've touched a lot on what I think this country should be, what it is. I, of course, could go into more detail into many of these, and I probably will, like I said. But these first few episodes, I want people to see kind of the broad strokes of my opinions, where I see things going. And yes, there's probably other parts of what that I left out of this video that I could put in talking about what I'd like to see this country. Could have brought up the death penalty. How do you kill people to tell people killing is wrong? Not to say that some crimes are so violently heinous that people don't deserve their life anymore. But how can you say you accept it when so much of our judicial system is so corrupt that you can't trust results? People in jail 30, 40 years. I mean, I swear, I hear the story like once a month. Oh, some new evidence or some new witness or something was, introduced, and all of a sudden, sorry, you lost half your life, sorry. Was this due to pent-up violent racism? Maybe. Was this due to not wanting to be, bothered by the shit on our shoe? Maybe. Did we not love each other enough to want to try to make each other better and build each other up? Probably. And why is that? Maybe we didn't see it in ourselves. Maybe we think the country of our dreams is not within our reach. But I'm here to tell you, things might be raw. Things might be out there right now. But this is our chance, like we've never had before. Everything going on is out there. It's obvious. You can look up and have the answer to anything on the internet. The answers are there. We just have to go out and make them happen because we care enough. We care about each other. We care about this planet. We care about this country. And why? Because if we're the greatest country in the world, and I would still argue I think it is, even though some people who hear my opinions might think otherwise, but it's true. I love my country. And even with that, even still thinking it's the best country, we have much farther we can go. Many more things we can do to improve our lives of our brothers and our everyday citizens. So, election coming up. Yeah, we can make it better during elections. Of course we can. But look at what's happened in the last 3 months with protests. Look at how much change has happened because we, the people, have put pressure on those in power. That's how we get the country we want. That's how we get them to stop profiting off of people's backs. That's how we make this place more fair, more loving, more supportive, with a more healthy, educated, and less need to be punished populace. But when they are actually rehabilitated. Well, America the Beautiful, she sure is. But she ain't a 10. I'm not saying she's a 5, but she sure ain't a 10. We wouldn't have half the problems today if she was. So how do we bump her up a couple notches? Just be good to each other, love each other. Try to see each other in ourselves. Once we start doing that, we wouldn't even think of being unkind to someone else. Because we'd be being unkind to ourselves. Now, if we're used to that, that's a whole nother issue. We need to love ourselves so we can love others, so we can love the planet. I love you all. We'll talk soon. Remember to like and share this video and hit the subscribe button. Links for all my social media, my website, and where to buy my books are in the description below. Love and gratitude will find a way. We just have to keep the conversations going. See you all soon.